Boom, 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 boom. We start in the famous and illustrious words of my brother from another mother, Baba Tundi Ajayi. Dream it, believe it, become it. Coming up. You know what? It's been a kind of, it's been one of those days, to tell you the honest truth. It's been one of those days. But you know what? I'm grateful to know that we've been there. Yes, Phil Answer's just in the place. Mob Vogs up in the place as well. Tundi's not here. Remember, Tundi is in camp right now. On the weekend, Joel Kadoa is fighting, and he's gonna do the business. So Tundi's out with his fighter, who he's training right now. And I was just looking about it, and I'm saying to myself, I saw the presser today. Yeah, I mean, yep, yes, 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 Sir Oku, how you doing? Pray everything's good your end. Yeah, I mean, yep, we have to dream it, believe it, become it, and we have to come on up. It's very, very, very important. TGB, no, TBG, he's shouting out saying Yard versus Bivol. You know what? You never know. You know what I mean? But Steve Bailey, how you doing? Who I've got? I've got Julius Francis joining me in a bit. I've got Julius Francis joining me in a bit. I've also got Julius Francis, former British and Commonwealth champion, man that famously fought Mike Tyson. I've also got Michael Sprott joining us on the channel, former Commonwealth and British champion as well, heavyweight champion. He also fought Anthony Joshua. So it'd be good to get his opinion of how he sees this fight going between Dillian Whyte versus Anthony Joshua, because he used to spar a lot with Dillian back in the day as well. So yeah, it'd be good. Lois, how you doing, my friend? How you doing? Pray everything's good. Yeah, thank you for, we're trying out here. Bruce Gas, Boxing, Jazz and More. Salute. United Stamina for Sale. Lewis, thank you very much for the Black Book Powers. But the thing about it is this, we wasn't going to do nothing, but because our producer, Manny, was working at Wireless, rubbing shoulders with all these A-listers yesterday, it would have been difficult for us to do the live yesterday. And plus, Tundi's in camp, so I'd have been doing it by myself. I thought, do I really want to go jump on it right now and go and do it? And it was ticking late, so he said we could have done a pre-record. So was meant to do a pre-record. I've got some big names. I got to speak to my hero. Thank you very much, Bobby Wright, for the $4.99. Big up Spence, looking sharp, bro. Yeah. Just went to the barbers. You know how it goes. Went to the barbers earlier today. That fade's very, very, very on point. Yeah, I mean, very, very on point. You know what? It's kind of weird that you're saying that. What's that? Jack Deep, yeah, Spencer. You're alarmed by Jared's performance against mine, and no, I wasn't. And I was just speaking to. Jay Prince, the manager of Gerard Anderson. So we're gonna get Gerard on the show. So he said that he's away right now, but when he comes into town, he's gonna take care of it. So I thought, right, that was cool. Phil Answer, I like how AJ called out Talksport. What did AJ say about Talksport? What did he say? You know what I mean? What did he say? I don't know. Let me know. Saw Dillian today as well. Saw Dillian and AJ today. You know what I mean? Both looked well, both looked up for it. So, I want to properly hear from like you guys, what you guys actually think about this fight. And it's amazing that these guys fought nearly 8 years ago. That's the craziness over it. Like, and how both men have grown within that duration of time, how both men have fought world titles. One has won versions of the world title and became a unified heavyweight champion. One's gone on to fight for a world title against Tyson Fury. And this is what makes this fight interesting. It makes it interesting because, as far as I'm concerned, this is what I'm saying. I'm saying this fight, it has got a lot to do with what Anthony Joshua has left mentally and what Dillian Whyte has left physically. Because we all know that Dillian just come to rumble. Dillian just come to fight. We just want to know, like, what has he got on him? Right. Stamina, thank you very much, Manny. Stamina for sale, Manny puts up, he said, them man at TalkSport have narratives. Didn't get into Fury for getting busted up and going 12 rounds with Wallin, or rubbish him for 12 rounds with Franklin and winning. Very good point. I think everybody was a little bit harsh on Anthony Joshua in his fight against Franklin because, I'm being real, we were using Franklin's fight, which Franklin had against Dillian Whyte, and we were looking at that fight and we were using that as a narrative to think, well, right now, Anthony Joshua should blaze this brother Franklin, not realizing that Franklin is actually bloody good. Franklin is a very, very good fighter. He's very deceptive. He's cute. I would say he's a very cute fighter. So if we're looking at someone like that, we're saying, well, you know what? I got to give Franklin a lot more dues. You know what I mean? I got to give him a lot more dues, and I've got to say, like, I was very hard on Anthony Joshua because I was saying, like, Joshua don't knock out this brother in 6 rounds, Joshua should retire. I remember saying this to Eddie Hearn, and he was in agreement. It's like, yeah. And I know for a fact that Eddie Hearn wasn't happy by that performance on the night. He wasn't happy by that performance. But now I've got to go back and I've got to put the knowledge cap, right? I'm putting the knowledge cap on, and I'm not speaking from greedy, selfish reasons. I'm looking at this fight now that Anthony Joshua recently had against Franklin. I can see, like, he's with a new trainer, Derek James, and he was trying to do things. He was trying to actually do things. He was being very Derek James-esque. If you see how Charlo fights, if you see how Errol Spence fights, they fight from a tight, high guard, right? They fight from a tight, high guard, and they throw a lot of jabs. They do work in the middle with the uppercuts, but this is how these guys fight. Thank you very much, Dotty Gal, for the £3 for the super sticker. Big up yourself. Hey, well, and Dotty Gal, did you contact Johnny Nelson? Remember, he was saying to give him a follow on Instagram because Johnny Nelson was last time Johnny was on the show, and you sent in some money as well, and Johnny was like, "Yes, Dotty Gal, come in." So me going back to this on the fact of Anthony Joshua, I'm saying Anthony Joshua isn't a work in progress. You know what I mean? I think he's progressed in work. And I think Anthony Joshua right now, where he is right now, I don't see if we're going to see any massive improvements inside Anthony Joshua, but I think there is something still inside of him to come out. And likewise, I'm saying I think there's something inside Dillian Whyte to come out of Dillian Whyte. And this is why I think this is a really good fight. Usually we get 12 weeks build up for certain fights. We see, like, with big fights like this, there are long build-ups for it, where we're sitting down and we're getting ready for it and we're thinking, yeah, you know, so we get that anticipation of the build-up. In this fight here, there is no anticipation of no build-up. We just got the fights now because it's like, they was like 4 weeks away. 4 weeks on Saturday. It's here. And it's sold out already. If you haven't got your tickets, you know what I mean? I don't know those tickets going to be on sale, but yeah, it's sold out already. And it's going to be something special. I believe it's going to be a really good fight. I believe that both men will come to fight. And like I said already, I think it's got to do with more of what Anthony Joshua has left mentally and more what Dillian Whyte has left physically. That's going to be the telling factors in this fight. Ali the Great, thank you for the 4.99. And he states up here, Manny, put that up, man. What you doing, Manny? Fury is very overrated, in my opinion, not ability wise, but in terms of resume. Both White and AJ have better resumes. He's nowhere near any of the greats. And it's weird that you say that, right? It's weird that you say that. Take out Deontay Wilder and take out Klitschko out of the run-ins. Who has Tyson Fury beat? Go on, I'll wait. You can come and tell me. And that's not me gunning Tyson Fury because he's bloody incredible. He's a really good fighter, right? But who has he beat? He's had 3 fights with one man. But who has he beat? So, and that's not me having a goal. I mean, that's not me having a goal at my guy. Sorry, 1 second. Yo. Yeah. No, I can't see him. Throw him on. Yeah. Cool. Man just phoned me right now. That is Julius Francis, former British and Commonwealth heavyweight champion, and the man that went viral the other day for knocking out a bully. But anyway, that's another story. But bring in Julius Francis.
I hope you can hear me.
I can hear you loud and clear. Exactly.
All right, that's cool.
Well, Julius, you're famous now. Since you knocked out that out of order, you outside the
Yeah.
I mean, you're famous, and
I wish, I will say, I wish it never had to happen. I wish it never happened. It wasn't anything that was planned or, manufactured, as some people did say. But yeah, it was weird actually having that crazy thing happen. And it kind of brought me back into my name back into the limelight. Kind of 20 odd years on from the Tyson fight. So,
well, I saw one of the videos was on like 50 million views, bro.
Yeah,
it was 50 million. It's 50 million.
It's funny because obviously me in my fight time, having working with the press and the newspapers and stuff like that, because they came and put a microphone in your hand that you knew they was come and see you at some point. But nowadays, obviously, everybody has a mobile phone. As soon as they have a mobile phone, as soon as anything happens, they jump on the mobile phone, video in, and it goes viral as it did. Which actually, I will say, was actually quite scary. Having to deal with, people just popping up, kind of from nowhere, and Julius Francis, blah blah blah, this and ever, and because I'd kind of melted into the background, as it were. I was doing my thing, with no real dramas in my life, as it were, at the time. And then all of a sudden, you go, my name was trending, as they say, around the world. So, but yeah, now, hopefully, everything's calmed down and life is kind of back to normal. So,
it has. But I mean, you know what's Manny's saying? The boy deserved it, Mr. Francis. We never saw that boy again. I mean, he disappeared. He properly disappeared.
What I think is a sad indictment on that whole situation is that you never know. People go out. We go out every weekend. People go out every weekend, party, do their thing, and every day walks of life. And the fact that you never know who you're going to meet, either in a bad situation or a good situation. So my thing is always be nice to everybody. It doesn't hurt to be nice. Obviously that's one of my jobs that I do, security, and I have people say to me all the time, about don't you get trouble on the door and this that and the other. And generally, we don't get trouble on the door. It's not as though we're standing on the door every weekend, and when we do work, looking and waiting for something to pop off. We go
Hmm.
to work as normal men and women in the security industry, and we want to just do our work, come home and see our families. So it doesn't when people are coming in. Oh yes, they get drunk, they do their thing, whatever. But like I say, it's that thing about not you never know who you're going to meet. You know.
Exactly. Anyway, Julius, we've got £20 in, so thank you, Mr. Monty Sings. He says, "Hi, Spence. Hope you're well. Been missing the show as I've been looking after my mum. Regarding AJ White, I see AJ landing an uppercut to close the show. Regarding Ari Fury. Um, he is a freak of nature, but Usyk will will double his punch rate on him and win on points. Interesting. I'm going to touch
Yep.
on this. How do you? I want to just like, how do you see this AJ? Because how do you see this AJ and Dylan White fight going? How do you see it going,
Well,
Julius?
again, somebody's already brought this up. Dillian Whyte, the three times that Dillian's been stopped, he has been stopped by an uppercut,
Yeah.
being hit clean on the point of the chin out. So that's um, maybe one of his concerns, or
Mm.
one of the concerns that may be in the camp. AJ loves to throw the uppercut. I think Dillian has the beating of Whyte if Dillian doesn't lose his head.
Dylan had the beating of White. They're both. That's Dylan White.
Sorry.
Gonna
Dillian
say,
has the beating of Joshua.
you ain't had that
Dillian
many
Whyte has
fights,
the beating
Julius,
of Joshua.
because you're very sneaky defensively. So you shouldn't be making the mistakes, mate. I'm not having that.
My bad, my bad. Um, so yeah, so White for me has the beating of Joshua if he keeps his head, if he keeps his head,
Mm.
if he stays focused. But like you say, yes, I was maybe a bit of a defensive fighter. I had my skills and whatever. I don't see a lot of these guys nowadays bobbing and weaving, ducking and diving. Um, Lots of guys, and I would say this definitely about Anthony Joshua. He's a very straight, upright type of fighter. That can be detrimental if you've got a guy that likes to hook and boxes in a crouching low kind of style.
Right.
Dillian Whyte has that in his locker, but he needs to work on it. I don't know how, because Dillian Whyte actually um, he's quite a maneuverable guy for his kind of stature and build. Um, my other concern is that Anthony Joshua is naturally a bigger, stronger guy, I feel,
Mm.
and will be able to land the power punches to be able to keep Dillian at bay and stop him from coming forward.
Mm.
To give Andy Joshua trouble, in the
So,
proceedings of the
so,
fight.
right, but this what I'm trying to say is this: Anthony Joshua. Um, if you think on the times where like he got badly hurt against Andy Ruiz,
Right.
right? Left hook when he came from his shot and he got caught left hook.
Yes.
Dylan White is a hooker. Remember in their first fight in the second round, Dylan
Yes.
White
Right.
clapped
He did catch him.
him with a
Yeah.
left hook. Yeah, Dylan White isn't a fighter of who he is then, and Andy Joshua is a fighter of then who he is now. Isn't there a possibility that if Dylan was to land that, hit that shot on uh, on AJ, that it could be
Yeah.
curtains?
Um. Yes. Oh, obviously, it's like in the heavyweights, as they say, in the heavyweights, it only takes one punch. In
Yeah, yeah,
boxing, generally, it only
yeah.
takes one punch, so that's why they class heavyweights as being so exciting. Because it can be over in an instant. Um. For me, Dillian has to box to try and get inside and uses because Dillian does have a very good jab, but
Mm.
I don't think he utilizes it very well. AJ does have that style. He's a very upright fighter, like I say. Um, will he watch his right hand after he lands a right hand? Does he watch his right hand when it comes back, or does he flick it out, put it out, and bring it back as it should? Like bring it out, put it back on an elastic band, like I say.
Mm.
Dillian Whyte likes to throw those hooks, and he has had plenty of guys out with left hook to right hooks, the right hand over the top. Will he be able to draw Andy Copper into a scrap and then land the right hand over the top? It's, but generally, as I'm leaning towards, I do lean towards Dillian actually winning this fight.
Pardon me? I didn't hear you.
I lean towards White winning.
Oh, you think? Okay.
I'm leaning towards White winning the fight. Both guys do have their attributes. AJ is a great athlete. I feel he's a great athlete.
Incredible.
He's proved he's a great athlete. Dillian Whyte is a fighter. He's a dog. He's got that very dogged determination, and really, at the end of the day, you do have to nail Dillian Whyte down to the canvas to have him out of there, to stop him.
Mm.
And that's what's happened when he's losses that he's had. He's kind of been caught, nailed down, and that's it. And really can't have any complaints about that. But I just lean towards Whyte. Not only because he's from up the road from me, so but I like him. I like the way that he don't take any prisoners.
Okay, but if we looked on the last fight that Anthony Joshua had against Franklin,
Yeah,
he was trying to be more upright. He was jabbing more, and he was thinking a lot more. I think he was overthinking a lot of stuff in there. He weren't being instinctive.
Yeah, right. Again, that's it, because it's not like a natural thing for him. With that Franklin fight, I think he could have had. For me personally, he could have had Franklin out of there with him. After 6 rounds, it was just boring.
Yeah, but you know what? We say that, that he could have had him out there. But this is what also I've got to take into consideration. It was AJ's first fight after 2 back-to-back losses.
Two
back-to-back losses. So within that duration of time, he ain't won a fight in over a year and a half, right?
Mm-hmm. But don't you want to come out and
stick it on a geezer?
Now you're colored to the mask. Yeah. Now you're colored to the mask and go out there and put a statement out there. That the statement to me was, it's the same kind of old boring Anthony Joshua. He had the loss against Usyk, and I will say that the second fight against Usyk, I saw a lot of Anthony Joshua had very, very much improved. He lost the fight. I will say he lost the fight, but there was so much more improvement in him. And for me, going into the Franklin fight should have been a testing ground for using the skills that he learned, and then going out there and putting the fight to bed. But it became a long, protracted, drawn out kind of back in some way to a kind of same old AJ type thing.
I hear that. But do you think Anthony Joshua could be mentally shot at this present moment?
Mentally shot?
Mentally shot, yeah. The fights have got the better of him now. It's he's in this place. He's doing this now because he's actually good at it, but I'm not too sure whether he wants to do it. Right? One thing we know for certain with Dillian Whyte actually wants to fight. He don't business.
Yeah, Dillian loves to fight. Yeah. That's the thing. Dillian loves a fight. I think in some ways for me, whether I'm right or wrong for saying this, but I believe or I feel that Anthony Joshua became very corporate, and it's that thing about not wanting to lose, staying as the good guy. Sometimes you have to be the bad guy to progress.
Yeah,
and that horrible, nasty guy image. He had it at one point, not horrible and nasty, but I'm talking about in the way that he fought and the way that he put
Mm,
himself out, gritted his teeth, and really went for it.
mm.
There was a step up, and there was a for me there was this a distinct cut-off point where I saw that side of AJ kind of disappear. Um,
Yeah,
that
but why?
nasty,
Why do you think that side of him went? Why do you think it went?
like I say, I think it's because he got corporate.
Okay, but don't
You
you
know,
think
you know,
don't you think that Anthony Joshua's always been corporate though? From turning professional, just think about it. Like 2000,
there has
2000.
been this thing, and what I've said from the time Anthony came out of the Olympics. I don't
Yeah,
believe that. I believe that he turned over too early. I believe he should have stayed in the Olympic, stayed an amateur until Rio. People might have agree or disagree. I believe he won. He won the London Olympics. I think he was quite lucky because he met the Cuban Savon's
yeah,
grandson or whatever.
yeah. He was
And
fortunate in that. I agree with you. I thought he
yeah,
was fortunate to get that win.
yeah, to
I don't think he was
to
fortunate in the Carmarelli in the final. I thought he beat Carmarelli, right? Even though it was a
yeah, but
countback,
should
but I
he have
thought
been in the
he won that
final?
fight.
Should he have been
Yeah,
in the final? So that's the other point.
yeah. But
We
you know
move
what?
on. We move on in terms of pros. I believe he should have
Mm.
took after Rio because the same guys that he would be fighting now and then are the same guys that he would have been boxing as amateur. And all you're going to do is learn. All you're doing
Yeah,
is heightening your skills and
yeah. I
learning
hear that.
the nuances of boxing. Because don't forget, AJ was only a amateur boxer when he won the Olympics for just over just over maybe 4 years.
Yeah,
And in
yeah.
that 4 years is not a lot of time to learn the nuances of the game.
I
He
know that.
goes into the pro game as kind of a big name, but there's a lot of pressure on him. Yeah,
Mm.
a lot of pressure to perform. And yes, he's got that back in. Yes, we know he's a very good athlete, and he is a very good athlete. And some of the things I saw him training and doing were spectacular. But then you
Mm.
learn and you see things as a you as a fighter, me as a fighter, and other fighters will see these little things that maybe the general public doesn't pick up on. And then when we
Mm.
see them and we criticise them, then people are saying, "Oh, that we're being um, we're not supporting them," but we're trying to just hopefully those things that we say make the fighter a better fighter.
I hear
You
you.
know, if
Paul
they get if
Johnson,
they
sorry to cut you there, Julius. Paul Johnson, thank you very much for the support you're giving on Twitter right now, and also for the 449. And you put a question up earlier, so and we just whizzed past this. I don't want to feel like he's being disrespected. So thank you very much, Paul Johnson. And he asks, that's a good point which you made about White keeping his head. Remember the hitting after the
yes,
bell in the
right,
first fight
that's
and
right,
everyone in the ring. And I remember that quite clearly because I remember White went after he threw that overhand right at AJ, but
yeah.
missed. He was also dazed at that time. So yeah, that's a very good point. Thank you very
So
much.
again, going back to that first fight, the little things that were on show, the small things that were on show for pros to see, the general public doesn't really or won't really maybe overstand certain things. They'll see the drama of the fight. They'll see the drama. They'll see the action, but not look at maybe what fighters are looking at, footwork, where the hands are placed, how the head's moving, those kind of
Hmm.
things. And they're the things that we learn as fighters coming up through the amateur game, through our kind of introduction into the pro game, and then we build on them.
I hear that, but you know what? It's a different game now. The sport
Yeah,
ain't the sport.
and
I remember when we were growing up, and I remember you was at BK Movies, isn't it?
no, St. Peter's was
St.
my amateur.
Peter's, sorry, not BK Movies, St. Peter's.
Yeah.
You're at St. Peter's, right? It's a different thing. I remember them times you have a flat top as well, right? The game you did. You used to have Julius France. You have a flat top, right? I
Back in
warned
the
you.
day,
Yeah,
I
yeah. I
had
warned you about. I warned you about them relaxers and all that rest that you used to put in your ear, but you weren't listening to me, bro. Right? I ain't touched those things, but I've still got my hairs full. Right. So what I'm saying to you, like, and and back then it was different tutelage. Yeah, I mean, how long? Like when you go into the boxing gym, I remember John Sims, who now runs Miguel's boxing, the amateurs
yeah,
down there, and all the rest of it. But we had to stay in front of the mirror till I got bored of just trying
yes,
to. But that's what you
yes.
had to do. Do you know what I mean? So it's just different.
We see boxing now. Social media now is a driving force, very much a driving force behind the game, and I
Mm.
feel that yes, there are very good points in the social media. The way it's helped build other certain fighters, but also it's detrimental to fighters because it built gives them a fan base and a boost where there shouldn't be a boost, where they're being jumped up because they have a big following, because they got lots of clicks, because they got a fan base, jumped up too quickly into
Yeah.
fights. When those certain fighters lose those fights or come up short, then we say, well, it was kind of obvious.
But like I said to you, that's the regression of the progression of professional
Right.
boxing now. Do you
Yes.
know what I mean? So it's different now. It's like the world's gone friggin' crazy,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. That's gone
But
crazy.
but the thing is this is like I like to stick to the authenticity of the sport. So because that way we can respect great men that had to go and do it. Not these like I mean, that's what I like about the sport. That's what I
You
love about
know, when myself and you were fighting back in the day, we built a resume of our amateur
yeah,
credentials,
yep, yep.
and you didn't jump in as you you like you came in as at the bottom and the back end of a show when you was as a pro. You weren't headlining. Just because you got lots of followers doesn't mean to say you should be headlining
It
a
didn't work
show.
like that. It didn't
No,
work
no,
like
no, you had to build yourself up regardless of how many tickets, and then how many tickets you had to sell. You
Yep,
know,
yep.
um,
Very true.
so maybe we're going off topic a little bit, but I believe that fighters should learn, and like you say, having to stand in front of the mirror, having to do the same move over and over and over again. And I know that as an amateur, that's what we had to do as amateur. But I did the same thing again as when I was a professional fighter because I
Mm.
saw I saw great fighters doing things over and over and over again. So because I wanted to be, I never ever thought I was going to be a great fighter, but I wanted what I wanted out of the game. So I saw great fighters doing it, what I consider as great fighters. So if it was good enough for them, it was good enough for me. That's the way I
Right.
saw it.
Bobby Wright, thank you for the 414 for the 499. Please vote for the Fight is Right on the CGT Awards. Yep, the Charles Gordon Trust Awards, which is going on in
Mhm.
September. You can just put that into and vote for the Fight is Right. We're up for some podcast award. So yeah, but you guys are being fantastic. You have supported. So just go, as Bobby Wright has put, go on to the CGT Awards and vote for the Fighters Right. Me and Baba Tunde Ajayi, we're gonna keep on doing what we're doing. I would say this fight between Anthony Joshua and Dillian Whyte is the heavyweight championship of the hood.
Well, definitely of London, definitely,
Yeah, it's the hood.
definitely of
It's
London.
the hood fight because I think
South
and
London versus Northwest.
yeah,
Is
yeah,
that
and I,
right?
I think
Yeah.
Dean White. He said it when he did the interview. I just saw it, and he was saying like Dean White, who's now promoting as well. So I mean, big up. Was
Yeah,
it Black Box Promotions or what's it called? Yeah, right.
yeah,
He was
Black Box. Yeah.
yeah he was saying that this fight is for the culture, and it is. It very much is so for the culture. Um,
I don't
whether
agree. if that's going to be another side issue as well, because
No, but it's the
obviously
truth though. Come on, let's be
Andy
real. Who's
Joshua
fighting for the culture?
being from he's Nigerian, yes, and then
Yep.
um, uh, Dillian Whyte being of Jamaican heritage and descent. So there is going to be again not just not it's going to be not just as sometimes happens that black and white thing, but it's going to be like you say that cultural, the
Well, I'm not.
African.
No, when I'm saying like, I'm saying it's for the culture, meaning the culture which is encapsulating of African ideology, meaning like off of that. Because you know what I mean, I can't really. When I say it's, I can't. Thank you very much. There is no hood in Watford. I was at Watford on a weekend, right? I'm gonna be real. And I also got bigger. I got bigger a young man, Joe, the young kid, Joe Rosso. Yeah, he boxed in a white collar show. 18. I'm gonna send you a clip of this kid. The kid's got a future. Very, very good boxer. He had his first
Yeah.
white collar fight. He's only 18. He fought a guy who was 28, who was experienced at quite a few fights. And
Mm.
and I also got to big up Chris Eubanks Senior because Chris Eubanks Senior actually gave the kid a pep talk. I got him on the phone saying like this kid's like giving his first fight,
Mm.
and Eubanks sat him down for like about 10 minutes on the phone speaking to the young kid, and it was really good and refreshing to see how the kid box. He's actually was actually boxing. We lots of times you look at white collar and we think it's some joke thing, but no, this
No,
because they're getting
something
trained.
like that.
Exactly,
There are
the
some
levels.
very talented kids out there.
Right, exactly. The levels and like this young kid, Joel, if he wanted to continue, I was with his family and all the rest of it, up in Watford, where he boxed, and it was really it was refreshing to see.
Mm.
So I got to
Mm.
big up that young man as well. But going back to the this for the culture, I'm saying it's for the culture because I'm not I don't. It's kind of weird. Like when people say, "Oh, which is better, Afro beats or ragga or dancehall?"
Yeah,
I mean, I don't see. Me personally, I don't divide the two because it's still African music, right?
yeah.
It's different tempo.
Musical Mobos. It's musical black origin.
Yeah,
That's what it
exactly.
is.
Right.
And then
So I don't. Yeah, you get what I'm trying to
it's
say. So
direct
I don't.
source. It comes to the
You know what I mean,
sources.
even though at this present moment, Afro beats is just going. They're
Black
throwing out
origin.
bangers every
Yeah.
week in, week out, week in, week out. Yeah. But then we got to look at it like if you're coming from Nigeria, look at the population of Nigeria. It's like 200 million people over there,
Mm.
right? Compared to the Caribbean, right?
Yep.
So let's just, I'm just talking, just in Nigeria alone, how many people are there? So I'm just
Yeah.
going to be real, like, come on, man. You know what I mean? Don't look
Mhm.
at this little island of Jamaica. It's a tiny frigging place. You know what I mean? It's tiny, right? Even and Jamaicans have got the audacity to took on other people uh,
Small,
and
they
call
call it
them like yeah.
and call them
We've got
small.
liberty to look on Ava and call them a small island. Where Jamaica is a tiny Jamaica from one end to the other is 172 miles from one end to the other. That is it.
Hmm.
That's a tiny place. So I'm not. You can't beat me on this. I'm not in it. You know what I mean? I'm just saying like the identity is extrinsically African, but we are still
Yes.
part of our British heritage.
Yes. Yeah. It's a that's a obviously you will definitely talk and you can come out with these. You got these numbers
Yeah.
um, and these statistics and everything like this, and you're very eloquent in the way the way you.
I'm trying, Julius. I'm trying. I've been around you. It's like I can't talk with that Cockney accent.
Sorry, guys. That's just the way I was kind of brought and dragged up. Um, but like I say, like we've touched on, it's that kind of yeah, South London, Northwest London, um, cultural, um, um, and then the guys. It's like how do I put it in how I would see it? Two bull elephants,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
two bull elephants that are coming to clash, and obviously one of them is going to um, maybe be bigger and stronger than the other, and one is going to have to because I can't. It's definitely not going to be a draw in this fight.
Okay.
I'm not even. I'm not sure. I don't even think the fight will go the distance. I can't see the
All right.
fight going the distance. So I do believe one guy is going to take the other one out. And I'm siding, like I said, I'm nailing McCullers to the mast. I'm siding with White. Obviously, I'm
Why?
South
Why?
London.
Why are you siding with Dillian Whyte to win this fight?
I just the way I see Dillian, um, as a from the time he came into the pro game, he's never been one of those guys to shirk away from anything. He's never
No,
been one of these guys
never.
um, to back away from a fight. He's always up for a fight. With Andy Joshua, to me, Anthony Joshua's had a lot of yes, he's had to put in the work, and he has put in the work. He has put in the work, but he's had lots and lots of things given, and he's had lots of people around him that's kind of given him that help as well. He's boxed at, obviously as an amateur, especially boxed at much higher class than Dillian Whyte. But this is why I kind of side with Dillian, because Dillian Whyte has just been one of those guys that at one point during his fight career, not just in his boxing career, but in his fight career as a whole, it was kind of have gum shield, will
Win.
fight.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
definitely. So that's the dog. Definitely the dog in him. You know. So and that's why I side with White.
All right, but if
I like
anti
that type of fighter.
if
Sorry.
anti if anti Joshua was to win, how would he win?
Oh, it'll be a stoppage.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tactic wise, um, I don't think he's got. He can't be one of these fights where, like the second fight with John Ruiz, where he kind of run for the whole
Yeah.
12 rounds, basically. Can't be one of those type of fights. People are not going to want it. People won't kind of settle for that in lots of ways. And maybe if we are allowed to look maybe past this fight, that there's the Deontay Wilder prospect. And if it were to pass that Joshua won the fight, this fight coming up, is that fight going to be? Would Wilder want to fight a guy or want to fight Andy Joshua? Oh,
Yeah, the man mash up the thing, you know. You see when you old people with technology, look at this. Look at this, man. Just look at anyway, it seems like we've just lost Julius Francis, but maybe we just kind of lost him in time as well. Because I did say to Manny, the producer, that we was only gonna be on for 45 minutes. And we've got a minute and a half left. Unfortunately, we've lost Julius. So Manny, you can just lock him off. The But what I am saying is this: I believe that this fight is going to be very, very intriguing. I believe that how this goes is like I just hope the better man wins. I'm not running out to take any bias because I know both guys really, really well, and I've known both guys for a very long time. I've known Dillian Whyte 2 years longer than I have known Anthony Joshua, but I'm pretty close to both men and I speak regularly to both. So I'm not going to jump onto any sides. And I'm not, because I'm not. I think it's going to be a decent fight. It's a juicy fight. I really do see this as the heavyweight championship of the hood. And we shall see come fight night what happens. Yeah. And like I'm saying, like I'm just reading Tundi's comment there. And we should be also looking at we should also be looking at, there's a lot of stress. There must be a lot of pressure on the shoulders of Anthony Joshua right now. It's reported that his fight will skill challenge in Saudi Arabia versus Deontay Wilder in December. He could earn potentially anything between $60 to $80 million. But if he was to lose this fight against Dillian Whyte, that $60 million is completely off the table. So therefore, that must be pressurizing. And as much as we say, well, I'm not thinking, I'm concentrating on this fight in hand, it must be difficult having that dangling carrot there. But before you do that, you have to make carrot juice of Dillian Whyte, which ain't going to be an easy proposition because Dillian is really coming to go and have it with you. But in the same instance, maybe it's Dillian Whyte that could bring back Anthony Joshua to that raw ruggedness, but this time a little bit smarter Anthony Joshua, who's throwing hard shots from a tight guard and not taking any gambling choices in the fight. But what I can say, in this fight, somebody's going to have to gamble. Somebody's going to have to gamble because I cannot see this fight going points. Well, what I am saying is I actually can see this fight going points, but I don't want to see this fight going points. I really do want to see a knockout. I really want to see somebody knocked out in this fight, simply because that would be the proper conclusion that is warranted for a fight of this magnitude. They are my thoughts. And that's all that I've got to say on the matter. For now, it's been a it's been a long day today, right? And sometimes Babatunde Giant said, impossible for this fight to go points. And as much as you're thinking that, Tundi, stranger things have happened, you know. Stranger things have happened. And I'm saying, like, it has to end in a knockout because I want it to end in a knockout. I want this to be conclusive. And as I said earlier, I believe that with Anthony Joshua is what he's got left mentally, and with Dillian Whyte, I believe is what he's got left physically. That will be the telling factors in this fight that will make this fight be, as far as I'm concerned, will get us to reminisce on looking at past fights like a Foreman versus Ron Lau in 1976, when these men went hell to leather. No world title was on the line, but it was one of the most exciting heavyweight fights that I've ever seen. Or likewise, in 1989, when Evander Holyfield fights Michael Dokes in an incredible fight. These were not for world titles, but what they were for the heavyweight championships of each other. And I believe that this fight could bring this here, because I'm sure Anthony Joshua wants that victory so he can lead on to his massive pay-per-view fight and barn burner against Deontay Wilder. And also Dillian Whyte wants this fight so he could spoil the apple cart and hopefully take the place of Anthony Joshua in a fight that he has been screaming out for years for against Deontay Wilder. And Julius Francis is back.
Sorry.
So Julius, I'm going to let you close up now.
I had no idea I was going to drop out as quick as that. Sorry.
Don't worry, because we was actually ending the show, but you've just
okay. Well, it was good to come on the show. It was great chat. Thank you very much for inviting me.
Thanks for coming on, mate.
And maybe we'll do it again sometime. Maybe closer to the fight.
Well, yeah, most definitely. No, maybe after the fight. But but in a nutshell, if Anthony Joshua was to win this fight, how would he have to win the fight, Julius?
He's got to be. If he's, I don't want to give away anything, but obviously, and give away game plans and whatever. But he has to be the aggressor. He has to be He can't be standing and jabbing on the back foot and playing the waiting game. Can't play the waiting game because Dillian is not gonna be found wanting. Dillian's gonna be in his place. So as I say, you have to fight fire with fire.
And how would Dylan have to fight Anthony Joshua?
Well, I think the way that Dillian fights anyway, he don't take no prisoners. He goes in there, heart on his sleeve, and he goes in there throwing big punches. And he knows he's got to go in there early and hurt AJ for him to be able to move forward, and make a
Okay.
statement.
Okay. Yo, let me big up Frankie Hayes. All right, Frankie, how's everything you're in, mate? Yeah, you know what, Judas, thank you so much for
No
jumping
problem.
on. Yeah, I
No
mean,
problem.
a bit weird for us because usually we get on Sundays, but like I said, Tundi's in camp. Tundi's in camp. Uh,
Yeah.
so he couldn't be on the show, and
Okay.
then
No problem.
our producer was at Wireless, so mingling with the A-listers and taking up their pictures and all the rest of it. Trying to tell people that he's working. I know them tricks, Julius. You know them as well. But yeah, so I mean, come pleasing pleasure to have Julius Francis, the
No
former
worries. Thank you very much.
Commonwealth heavyweight champion. Yeah, I mean, the man that fought Mike Tyson, and the
Wow.
man that the man that got a bag of money, and I mean a bag of money
Hmm.
from the Mirror newspaper group.
Well,
Yeah,
they gave me a little extra, you know.
a little extra. Okay.
Um, but I will say that even on that subject, it was nothing to do with me. It wasn't my idea. It was my promotional team. My daughter's mum actually she was my
Yeah,
PR
Adrian.
and
Okay.
all that. So you know, but that's for another story, another time. Yeah,
Yeah. Definitely.
no
And on that
worries.
note, I say peace, two fingers. Thank you, everyone, for joining into the Fight is Right. We shall be back properly on Sunday. Myself and Babatunde Ajayi. And in his famous words, dream it, believe it, become it. Coming up, thank you very much, Julius Francis, for joining us on the Fight
No
is
problem.
Right on our special Monday edition. Peace, two fingers. We are out. Later.
Take care.